How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Not too much news I was able to dig up that's too relevant tonight. Besides, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency proponent Tom Emmer officially announced his candidacy for Speaker of the House of Representatives. He previously said he would not try to run for this position, but now he is. He has announced he will run for Speaker of the House of U.S. Representatives. This announcement comes on the heels of the unprecedented impeachment of Rep. Kevin McCarthy earlier this month. He shared this decision on Saturday this morning with X, stating his goal to bring our council together and bring it back to business. So hopefully he can unite the council and we can move forward with some helpful legislation for the crypto industry. Don't know why we're on Dixie. It's Saturday, so Dixie really doesn't do much, but we are pushing pretty decent on our total. We pushed to that purple EMA. We are trying to push to that pink one. We did not quite get through. We kind of started to stop out, so I would watch lower time frames if you're interested in seeing where the total would go. Our stochastic is running up. RSI wants to run up. And money flows clinging to the bullish territory. That VWAP's maintaining a strong bullish trend, and the momentum is coming up. But if we start to waver on lower time frames, we may see this roll over. Real quick, we'll look at the 2 hour just for giggles. Money flow is pretty decent in the bullish territory. It is coming down after meeting a high that it did meet before. If it does break through the neutral in the next several candles, then we could see a bearish trend start. Bitcoin dominance, after hitting quite a bit of a high spot on this volume profile, we are meeting resistance where there previously wasn't much resistance. So we have, well, actually not much bullish pressure. If you look, these faded red candles, here we can make those a little better. Again, you just go to these, you change your opacity, and now that's a little more visible. We might have to move the chart in front of this now. I think I made that a little dark. So to bring dominance in front, which you click these lines, go visual order, bring to front, and now we'll see that better. So we have a lot of resistance here, but we should be able to break through. There wasn't very much buying pressure right above here. If we're not able to gain some buying pressure and push through this range, it's very likely the bears will resume control. Right here, it's kind of 50-50. The bar is almost pretty equal. It does have a slight bearish favor right now. So if we don't set green candles here, we're likely going to start to fall down and break back into this pattern where we could see it pull our dominance even lower. Yeah, I'll have to fix that later. Over on our futures, we are pushing out of our pattern still. We want to continue forward. Our stochastic's pretty maxed out. It is starting to head down. We kind of making a bearish divergence as the stochastic wants to start to head down as price is trying to continue to go up. That momentum has bearish divergence as well as that is making lower highs. We are seeing that VWAP start to push back up, so that is positive for futures. But if it makes a lower high here and rolls back over, then we would see a bearish trend start to resume. However, if this VWAP can stretch out in the bullish territory, it would help bring this money flow back above. Our money flow is meeting some resistance around this -10. If we break through this -10, it's possible we could start a bullish trend and try to fill that higher gap at that 35K zone. However, if that VWAP and momentum start to fall away here, we're likely going to see money flow reject and lower price action. If we look on the 2 hour, money flow is well in the bullish territory. We have money flow in the bullish in the 4 hour too, and in the daily. So that is a pretty strong move for us. When you see it in all time frames, usually you get a decent run up. If you see when we cross, that was probably when we made this run up back here. That's when we started this whole trend to the upside. So we are maintaining a bullish trend. We keep trying to dip to the bearish side. We haven't been successful. As that does maintain on lower time frames, this money flow will continue to ride back up. Over on Bitcoin, we did try to break out of this pattern that we drew yesterday, but we'll get to that in the lower time frames. Stochastic is running up, RSI is starting to head down, momentum's rolling away, that VWAP is pushing out, and that money flow is struggling. So we are possibly seeing a tweezer top here after getting this rising wedge that broke up. It acted more of a rising triangle than a rising wedge. A rising wedge usually breaks you down. So now that we had a little bit of a fake out break up, we could possibly see it push us down. So we would want to move this. This would be more of a rising channel now, so we could just bounce around and we could reject out down to around that 29.2 level where we have that support. RSI is heading down. We have a double red dot on our momentum. We have a red dot on RSI. So that's suggesting that our RSI and momentum want to fall to the bearish side. We are possibly forming a tweezer tops here. If that does happen, we'll likely see a rollover to the downside. Our money flow is starting to head out. The VWAP is rejecting. The reason you're probably like, I never saw that pattern, we called that in the Discord, so that's another reason to smash the like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord link in the description down below or up above where you see. So that VWAP is struggling to maintain some bullish strength. If that VWAP continues to struggle, this bullish momentum will likely start to fall to the bearish side. Over on the 2 hour, we have bearish divergence on momentum, stochastic starting to come down, RSI is pushing down, the VWAP is pushing in the bearish territory, and the money flow is overall starting to come out. It is trying to meet some support around this 11, so if it bounces here, we could continue this bullish trend, but if it breaks through, just watch for it to fall to the bearish side. If that happens, we could see a leg down and get sucked back into that golden pocket. Over on the 1 hour here, we are going kind of sideways after starting to push down. We're rejecting this EMA level. If we continue to reject this EMA, we will see this lower EMA tested. Our EMA is starting to curl here as well. When these EMAs start to curl and they've crossed through higher EMAs, that is when you'll start to see them fall. We kind of covered that last night, so watch last night's video real quick if you want an example. I covered that. Stochastic's falling, RSI is pushing down, that momentum's coming out. Our VWAP is pushing into that bearish territory, so overall we do have some selling pressure. That's another reason not to skip through coins, because sometimes when we cover other coins, we cover different analysis or different ways of trading. So sometimes you get little bonuses on different coins. It's not always all at once, all on Bitcoin. Over on graph for the daily, we are making a bounce off this support, so that is good for us. We're trying to break through this blue EMA. If that can continue on our lower time frames, we could see continual price action up. Our EMAs are curling to the upside, so we could try to break through this yellow EMA like back before. Our stochastic is running up, RSI is heading up. We did mention that was a possibility too a couple of days ago. Our VWAP is pushing forward. Our momentum is getting bullish divergence here. Have a little bit of a green dot as that VWAP is pushing into the bullish territory. That money flow is barely bullish though, so if our momentum doesn't push up with strength and that VWAP doesn't sustain this bullish action, then that money flow is likely going to just push back down like it did before, and we could get drop out. If we do that, then we would have some sort of pattern where we could see continual downside. Over on the 4 hour, you can see we tried to hit this purple EMA. This green EMA and blue EMA are curling up pretty decently, but they're starting to round away. So that is showing some signs of exhaustion. Our stochastic is pretty flat, pretty maxed out. It is starting to spread apart, so once it starts to diverge a little more, it will start to push under most likely. RSI is starting to push pretty flat, and it does want to lose some steam here. That momentum's starting to roll away as that VWAP is slowly losing its strength and the money flow is starting to edge toward that neutral. If the VWAP starts to break to the bearish side, we could start another bearish trend here. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is getting a strong bearish cross and pushing down. RSI is trending out. That momentum is rolling away with a double red dot that wants to bring us lower. That money flow is bullish but not very strong. We do technically have strength to continue up since it is bullish, but I would just keep an eye on it. That VWAP is in the bearish territory. It's not very deep in the bearish territory, so that could come back up and give that money flow some more strength to continue forward. At which point we would test this resistance area for our previous pattern. Our momentum's overall starting to diverge as it pushes down and price pushes forward. RSI is continuing out. Stochastic is pushing out, as stochastic does want to make a bullish cross here. If it can make a bullish cross here, that RSI could make a bounce and continue forward. That VWAP is trying to break through to the bullish side, and that money flow is well in the bullish territory, giving us a lot of strength. I would watch for this money flow to dip into the bearish territory, but if it just makes a little weak dip and then bounces back, we could continue to the upside. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are pushing well away from this flag. We are pushing pretty much to this other candle that we had way back here. It is possible, like we did mention before, that we could try to retest this zone. We did break to this red EMA level. We are invalidating this pattern. Tomorrow, if we get a green candle and push to these other EMAs, like we mentioned, we could push to this point value area low here. If we push to our value area low, then it is likely we would see some sort of retracement, at which point you would want to watch for a bounce around this zone back here and continue price action forward. Now, money flow is in the bullish territory. Our VWAP is trying to maintain some bullish strength. We're getting kind of stuck at the 16, so I would watch. That stochastic does want to continue forward. Our RSI is continuing forward. That momentum's well in the bullish territory. Money flow's maintaining bullish strength, so I would watch. If this money flow keeps in this zone, we could continue forward. Over on the 4 hour, we are starting to get a little bit of a red candle. If we get another red candle following this that's the same size as the green candle, we could have a rounding top to push us lower. Our stochastic is making a bearish cross. RSI is heading out. Momentum starting to round away as our VWAP is falling to the bearish side. If that VWAP breaks through that neutral and becomes bearish and holds in the bearish territory, we could see this bullish trend start to exhaust and pull under. That money flow did make a new high. We haven't really been this high for quite some time, so that could be a sign that we could see further price action down. Over on the 2 hour, we are getting a little more of that rounding top effect. We had a gap to the bottom. We are filling. We just managed to run rampant. Our stochastic and RSI are heading down together. We have a double red dot on the momentum. The momentum is rolling away. That VWAP is about to break into that bearish territory. If that VWAP breaks into this bearish territory, makes a consistent low, and then makes lower highs, we could see this price action start to roll under and push lower. We would see this support level for our flag tested. If we break that support, then our flag would still be in play, and we could see continued price action down. We do still have gaps to the downside, like right around that 1973 zone. Over on the 1 hour, money flow is well in the bullish territory, so if that continues, then we will see price action continue to the upside. Our stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is starting to head down. That VWAP is in the bearish territory. If this VWAP continues to maintain strong bearish strength, we are making a lower low. If it gets a lower high, then we could start a bearish trend, see that money flow start to exhaust, and see the other time frames start to push under. We did gain a substantial amount today, so there is a high likelihood that we would retrace some of it. Over on XRP, we did try to break through our point of control on our volume profile. We did try to break through our EMAs, however we rejected all of our EMAs. If we see a continued rejection tomorrow, we are likely going to break these lower EMAs and see a push to the downside. Stochastic is running up very strong, RSI wants to head up, that VWAP is starting to take a break, money flow is in the bearish territory still, and that momentum was coming up but starting to roll away as that VWAP starting to lose strength. Over on the 4-hour, we are kind of sidestepping up, somewhat of a small rising channel that could try to push us under. The stochastic has bearish divergence, RSI is coming out, that momentum has a red dot that wants to roll us under, that VWAP's pushing to the bearish side, and that money flow wants to break as well. If our money flow and VWAP break to the bearish side here, it is very likely we will break this support and see continued price action down. Over on the 2-hour, the stochastic has bearish divergences. Our momentum is rolling away with a double red dot. The stochastic is starting to make a bit of a spread. It's hard to see with all the red. Our money flow is starting to come out with lower lows and lower highs, and the VWAP is pushing into the bearish territory. If this money flow continues down and the VWAP continues to fluctuate, we will set up a bearish trend that will bring us lower. Over on the 1-hour, this could be a bit of a rising wedge. We got freak breakout, so I wouldn't expect any sort of freak breakouts on this one like we got for Bitcoin today. Might be more of a channel, depends on how you want to draw it. Could be coming down, could be a freak breakdown, freak breakups. If that's how you would draw it, this would be a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. We had 3 touches to the top. If we had our third breakdown, that would push us to our support area, and we could test that for a breakdown. Stochastic is coming out, RSI is starting to push down, the momentum is rolling away, the money flow is starting to come out, and the VWAP is rejecting away from that neutral. If that VWAP continues in this bearish territory, that could bring the money flow out, and we would see a bearish trend start. Over on Algo for the daily, we are trying to push above this support zone. We are trying to break back into our pattern. Our stochastic does have a bullish cross. Our RSI is continuing forward. Our VWAP is trying to push forward. That money flow does want to break through that neutral. And the momentum does have a double green dot that wants to continue forward as well. So we are looking pretty positive here. Over on the 4-hour, we are trying to hit this EMA. We are getting stopped out by it. So if we roll over here and push to the downside, we would retest our support. At which point, if we break that support, we will see a push to the downside. Our stochastic is starting to kind of get exhausted. RSI is heading up. That momentum is pushing forward. That VWAP is making lower highs, which is putting it in jeopardy of breaking that neutral. That money flow wants to break to the bearish territory. So as that VWAP and money flow break down here, that daily is going to get weakened. I would watch the lower time frames to see what happens. Over on the 2-hour, we do have a reversal arrow that we are pumping away from, so we are trying to continue forward. We do look a bit exhausted, so we could start to come back down. Our stochastic is starting to fall, EMAs are starting to bend, momentum is starting to push down with a double red dot. Our RSI does want to try to continue forward. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, but our VWAP is breaking bearish. If that VWAP makes a lower low, we could see a bearish pull on that money flow and see a rejection of this zone. Over on the 1-hour, we are trying to push up. We might be able to make a double top, so I would watch out as we are meeting some support resistance areas. Our momentum is coming out. We do have a green dot as our VWAP wants to break to the bullish side, but it's not very strong. So if we get a weak high here and make a lower low, we could start a bearish trend that would pull us under. Now RSI is trying to head forward with a red dot, so that signals that RSI wants to come back down. Our stochastic does have a bullish cross, but again, we have that red dot, so that red dot may bring us down, but they don't always have to. Back here, you see we had a few, and RSI just continued. So over to Doge for the daily. We are trying to break up to this support zone. We did make a double bottom. Stochastic is trying to push forward. RSI is trying to push forward. That VWAP is trying to continue forward. And the money flow is trying to break to the bullish side. If that money flow can continue forward, we would push to the bullish territory. Over on the 4-hour, we have bearish divergence on our stochastic. So as we come to this resistance area, we do have signals that we may start to roll away. RSI is pretty flat. Momentum does want to roll away. That money flow is in the bullish territory, but is pushing under, so I would watch. If it starts to roll away and breaks that neutral, we could start a bearish trend. That VWAP does want to push that neutral, and it is getting lower highs, so if that VWAP starts to continue lower highs with lower lows, we would see a bearish trend start, which could weaken price action. Over on the 2-hour, stochastic is pushing out. Our momentum is getting a double red dot. That RSI is starting to fall. That money flow is in the bullish territory. It's kind of wavering around. It made a bounce off neutral. Our VWAP is zigzagging around, so we do have potential to see this money flow continue to flutter. Over on the 1-hour, we don't really have much support or resistance here besides that previous zone, so not too much else to go off. But our momentum is making bearish divergence. RSI is making bearish divergence. Stochastic, our money flow does want to push under. That VWAP is rejecting that neutral, so if we're not looking too good. We could see further price action down if we get some strong red candles and we break around this 689 zone. Over on SHIB, we are trying to continue forward. We do have a potential for a double bottom here. So if this double bottom plays out, we could see a push. Come on. Over on SHIB for the daily, we are trying to make a double bottom here. We do want to continue forward. We want to hit this resistance. We are pulling away from it. So I would exercise caution. If the rest of the market pulls back, we likely won't see the double bottom play out. Stochastic does want to push forward with bullish divergence. RSI wants to continue forward. That VWAP's in the bullish territory. Our money flow is trying to make a bullish trend, and that momentum has bullish divergence. Over on the 4-hour, we are getting a bit of a reversal arrow and a bit of a rounding top, so that could signal we may pull away and see some downfall in price action. RSI is starting to head down. Stochastic has a bearish cross. Momentum is rolling away. That VWAP's getting lower highs and pushing that neutral. The money flow does want to break that neutral as well, so if both these things break through, we would see a pretty strong push to the downside. Over on the 2-hour, we have a double red dot momentum. Stochastic is getting a pretty decent push to the downside. RSI is rolling away. And money flow is breaking to the bearish territory, and our VWAP is hanging down in the bearish territory as well. If that money flow falls bearish and sustains, and that VWAP continues to fluctuate and favors the bearish territory, it is likely price action will get pulled under from here. Over on the 1-hour, stochastic is coming down. It does want to make a bit of a round to cross back up, so I would watch for that to push us forward. Our money flow is well in the bullish territory, and that VWAP is making a consistent low. Watch out for a lower high. If it makes a lower high here, we could start a bearish trend that would pull us under. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.